Welcome to the office. People, a tragedy, and a new record for the Cape Rio's race. A week of intense racing in Singapore and Langkawi Islands. And we'll conclude with the records hunters, these madmen going solo on their war machine. But first, do you know this famous Chinese proverb? Raise your sail 1 foot and you'll get 10 feet of wind. This proverb worked a treat in Malaysia. From Langkawi, the sailors want more after the first races held in very light wind. The 12th Royal Langkawi International Regatta ends in gorgeous conditions. After 10 races and an exciting final day, the 40 teams, divided into 8 classes, enjoy a world-class event. They had it all, from torn sails to bruised sailors, boats losing their anchors, loud music, wind, joy and excited participants. In IRC 1, Foxy Lady wins 8 races to secure the local title and the Continental Championship. In IRC 2, the Danish Phoenix leaves only the crumbs to runner-up Skybird.
Really windy, so it was more survival conditions than sort of full-out racing.
In the racing division, Oi ends with a narrow 2 points lead over Jelik from Hong Kong.
Pretty tough racing. It was very windy. I mean, the windiest day we've had so far. It was a solid 25 knots, gusting to 27.
From Singapore, the 4 days of the 20th straight regatta are held under perfect conditions. With a wind blowing over 20 knots and 3 races scheduled on the last day, the teams remain vigilant over breakages. 2 short races and a coastal race set in the middle of an armada of anchored ships is the plan for the final day. In the SB20, the competitors race for the Asia Pacific Championship title. Xu Yun-sin wins thanks to his consistency ahead of John Pollard. With 3 race wins on the last day, Mike Buchanan makes a thunderous comeback and takes the 3rd step on the podium. In IRC Open, Referring Dreams wins over Blue Note by a single point. In IRC C, Shun Feng Tu has a perfect week and finishes well ahead of Wakatea.
Been a great regatta, lovely wind, have a great crew, it's all been great fun.
"34 teams start the legendary race from Cape Town in South Africa to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. At 1 p.m, a breeze of 10 knots allows Maserati, the Volvo 70 skipped by Giovanni Soldini, to take the lead. Among them is a son-off. I think we'll have some strong wind in the first few days and then it should calm down a bit. And we should be moving quite quickly. On the first night, the fleet is being hit by 40 to 60 knots of wind and swells over 6 meters high. The Bavaria 54 Bill snaps her mast, causing some serious injuries amongst the crew and even the death of a teammate. We've heard about this pretty tragic news. It was so sad. It was a pretty rough start. Later, Maserati is facing a high and has to go further 600 miles, but it was worth it. 10 days later, the Volvo 70 helmed by Giovanni Soldini arrives in Rio and grabs the race record. It really is such a joy to arrive tonight in Rio, and with the record as well, it's quite exceptional. Holder of many oceanic records, Francis Joyon is the king of solo sailing. His kingdom is so prestigious that several of his fellow playmates are trying to have a go at it. The record chase is a bit like a treasure hunt, and Francis's fortress is under threats. Lionel Le Manchois on Prince de Bretagne is tackling the express route to Mauritius in the Indian Ocean.
La Mauritienne, c'est entre
The Mauritian is from Lorient,
Port-Louis
to be exact, and Port-Louis in Mauritius. It is an 8,000 miles record.
C'est 8000 milles de navigation.
Thomas Coville on board Sodebo sets out to conquer the round-the-world race record known to be extremely demanding. I really want to go out and fight. In fact, this project belongs to me. A project very close to my heart, a project part of my story, a project I really carry in my guts. Armel Le Cleac'h on Banque Populaire is about to embark on the discovery route towards the Bahamas. All these contenders have their short teams on high alert before launching an assault on the Cape Rio's citadel, not without some apprehension. Oh yes, a little bit as usual, but I really want to get out there. After a short while, this fear will disappear as we enter into the real game. But why do they decide to leave at the same time? It has been weeks and weeks of waiting for the right weather window. We must live in a northerly wind, then sail on the edge of the high pressure. Then out of it we latch on to the trade winds and eventually the doldrums. Sometimes the routing gives us only 5 days and 20 hours to reach the equator. When the time is up, you gotta go. The waiting period cannot be extended any longer. Actually, the hardest is to take the decision to go, but once the decision is made, it's a piece of cake. The risk is to be caught at the end of summer in the southern hemisphere and its huge storms. I'm ready to go. We have a full moon and it's 3 o'clock in the morning. A bit weird and there's not too many people, but hey, the best are here. For Lionel, the fear is the possible cyclones towards the end of the trip. I'll still have 2,000 nautical miles to go when rounding South Africa before reaching Mauritius. It's a long way though, and the weather is not easy at all. A weather window finally shows up late last week. Not an ideal one, but the sailors will put up with it. It's a decent window as it gives us a good time to the equator of 7 days. Both boats are finally casting off. The sailors can say their farewell to their loved ones and take on the huge battles ahead of them. To beat the times set by Francis Joyon, Thomas and Sodebo will have to come back in less than 57 days, 13 hours and 34 minutes. While the time to beat for Lionel and Prince de Bretagne is 26 days, 4 hours and 13 minutes. Staying put in his dungeon, King Francis will closely monitor these two assaults against his own record times. Rendezvous next week, same time, same place. Until then, goodbye and fair sailing.